Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast is the origin of the podcast The Ride hosts. It may contain hamburger factories, substantial boats, and t-shirts that would make the Big Johnson people embarrassed. Come learn about Mike, Scott, and Jason's very regular childhoods. It's the parks that made us on today's podcast, The Ride.
Welcome to Podcast The Ride, where today we stop thinking about the theme parks in our heads and focus a little more on the theme parks in our hearts. I'm Scott Gardner, joined by Mike Carlson.
I'm acting.
I didn't know what that. I thought that was
so
legitimately choking on food or
choking on my own emotions.
I see, choking on emotion. Yes,
beautiful.
That's good. That's what I want today is
yeah.
choking on emotions. Let's all be doing that. Jason Sheridan.
Yeah, let's get this actor some more jobs. Let's get this man booked.
Well, please.
Hashtag booked.
Jason and I beg for work every week here. We beg for work on the show. At this point, it's pathetic. So, yeah, please. If you didn't hear that.
We don't do it every week, and I don't think you should start. But as much as you feel like you need to.
Yeah, that's true. It's happened a few times. But
that's not so much our hearts. That's more our guts, the rumbling, the stomach acid churning in our guts.
Needing hunger or having hunger, needing treats.
Probably that more just anxiety pangs of bile, you know?
If we're talking like, if you want like the lone gunman from X-Files on your show, three guys who are a little quirky, a little strange. If you've ever seen the X-Files, there were the three kind of guys that were like Mulder would go to like for research, and they were kind of like conspiracy theory guys, and they would give him information, but they were a little odd, and they had their own spin-off that didn't, I guess, do well. Mm-hmm. This is the three of us could do that on some show, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, you're pitching us as people who had their own show that failed.
Well, no, I'm saying it, in the future we could be we could be on a show, we could have a spin-off, and then it would fail.
But you're okay with the failure of the eventual show as long as we get the rates for recurring on a more popular show.
Primetime Fox, a full season
Fox
of that?
one season in 1999 or 2000, whatever that was.
Were they on more than one season of X-Files, or there was only one season?
More than one season of X-Files.
Okay, well, so the lone gunmen are doing fine then.
Yeah,
I would assume.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying this is where we're available in the same sort of like, these three quirky guys for a show. If your show needs three quirky guys, here we are.
If your show is looking to hire three whites at once, just a big glut, let's really
maybe
up
that's
the,
part
the
of it.
White numbers.
Maybe that's part of it. I don't know how, but maybe that's part of it.
It's mocking the idea of that. It's an ironic
That's
use
right. So here we are.
Us and that. But
the new lone gunman ready to be inserted in your TV show.
Yeah. And today you'll see the soul and the heart of us. We'll see where we came from, the origin story.
That's the idea. What we're doing here today is Mike and Jason and I are all going to talk about a park or a themed attraction that meant a lot to us growing up. That's like way deep in the psyche. And you might say, well, you do that all the time. But today, we're not talking no corporate Disney, Universal, the man. That's not what it is.
Boring,
we're talking about places that were local, that were homespun, and where even though we maybe recognize the flaws and the chintziness, it's always going to be in there. Like it's part of us. It affected us. Part of our origin story, as Jason said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited about this. There's a lot. There were many places even I think we could have picked, multiple places, but we've chosen one. So there's sequel opportunity for this episode too.
Yeah. Well, especially because I think we all like fetishized some place that wasn't even meant to be enjoyed. Yeah. Like in my case, the Fry's Electronics that was based around Alice in Wonderland. Like that's a viable, but God knows I've talked enough about Fry's. But like we probably all have like there was a post office and the roof was interesting, and that was like the thing that had a lot of impact on us.
Yeah, I think I've said this before on the Woodfield Mall episode, or maybe before. There was like a shoe store that had a little like circle like that you could kind of sit in. I forget even how to describe it, but there was like a little play thing in the shoe store, and I was just like, this is the greatest place I've ever been.
Trying to picture.
And that's probably a chain, and I can't think of the name of it, and people probably know exactly what it is. There's a slide inside as well.
Okay.
But to get in the store, if you were just a kid-sized, there was like a hole kind of that you could like walk through, and then you could like chill out in this sort of hole.
You had a special entrance, entrance for kids in the small
Basically,
store.
yeah.
Like the Imaginarium. That's what I said. The Imaginarium was a store with a little door.
Yeah.
I miss doggy doors for
a little
children.
I don't think I've been anywhere with my son with a tiny door meant for him and that I couldn't fit into, that I'd be humiliated if I tried to go into. And we need more of those.
We should. Like, somebody really should make, I mean, there's been so much talk of like Wonka attractions over the years. Somebody should make that like door, the tiny door at the end of the weird room when they're about to go into the factory, something like that. Obviously, that's not the way it's portrayed is impossible, but there's a version of it where you could do like kids only could fit in a certain door.
Make all those blustery dads and moms have to get on their hands and
Make
knees.
the mom and dads get hurt. Make them scrape their knees.
Wear down their already worn down limbs.
Everyone's wearing suits and dresses because I guess it's English in England in this 1960s in this scenario.
They were all fancy. That was like Disneyland in the 50s and 60s where you dressed up. They did, and I guess that's a momentous day. And they probably knew that Willy Wonka dresses up as well,
although
so they had to match.
There is a class element, I feel like, to Willy Wonka, because like Charlie and his grandfather probably have the least amount of money of all of them too, so that's probably part of it. But also people dressed up back in the day. So Grandpa is wearing a suit, but it's probably like a less nice suit than the others.
Oh yeah, those snooty other people. They're on to him. And remember, it probably stinks because that place is he's sleeping with the other grandparents.
Yeah,
he's got his own elderly stink that's amassed the stink of the other elders.
Yeah,
and then they make nothing but cabbage stew in there. So probably every article of clothing has kind of a cabbage reek.
He could have taken his annual shower though before. I don't know.
Was that the situation? There was one shower?
Maybe.
I think it was a bath.
A bath.
I think
yes,
they
would do a
bath.
bath.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes sense.
But also using it for also cooking up cabbage in there to make stew. They're getting the bath water to eventually eat.
Multi-purpose cauldron, yeah.
Will they show the grandpa bath in the whatever, the new Wonka? Chalamet, what's his name? Excuse me, I apologize.
I like Chamelet.
Chalamet's funnier. Will they show it in the new Wonka? The grandpa bath.
I sure hope so. I'd like to see every detail and like with crazy CGI.
Yeah, CGI grandpa in water. So anyway, childhood parks.
We're talking, yes. So like, yeah, the little one, the places that felt like ours, where maybe you could go. You know, like you could talk to other kids about, have you been to Disneyland? But anybody could go to Disneyland. These places felt like almost to me like maybe I'll never meet anyone who also knew these places. Unless in your case it was like, oh, all the kids in your area are talking about whatever your thing is.
I think in my case, some of the kids were talking about it. I think it's pretty well attended. It's been around for a long time. So I wouldn't be shocked if people in the area at least went once.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it was not getting Disney levels of attendance. But it is still open, and it's been open since 1981. Mine is. I guess, should we roll into mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about the order. I was going to say, let's roll into yours. I was going to say, does it make sense to go for the person to go last who thinks that theirs is the worst?
Yes.
But do you think that's yours?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Jason?
No.
Okay. Maybe it's me then.
You think yours is the worst?
I think it might be the worst. Yeah, having just been and revisited, I would say
I haven't just been,
days.
but mine still seems kind of charming.
Yeah, I think Mike should start because a thing of mine I didn't realize until I was a little deep into it. There's kind of it shares some things with what little I know of Mike's.
Okay.
But mine also has gotten increasingly more elaborate, where I learned things today when I was working on stuff where I was like, well, I didn't know that. And like, oh, this is very funny folly for a thing to occur.
Follies to come.
Follies to come.
Follies.
Novelty garden architecture.
I was trying to find
roller
follies
coaster
for mine.
construction mishaps.
I was trying to find follies for mine. I don't think I found any major follies that have been documented.
Well, then by all means, let's dive into yours, Mike. And I also think that let's compare and contrast these. We'll all lay our specific parks and places out, and based on those, we'll determine who had the best childhood.
I think it'll
be a winner.
I think it'll be clear. So yeah, I guess let's start. Brian, I have a video that I sent. It says pirate video. I think we should probably start with that. This is a newer commercial, just to give you a little taste.
Discover a buried treasure filled with summertime fun at Pirates Cove Children's Theme Park in Elk Grove Village.
What theme park?
Pirates Cove?
Children's
Children's theme park.
One day, 2 to 9 to explore. So sail over to Pirates Cove Children's Theme Park between June and August, and take me word, you'll be hooked. Yo ho ho!
So that's Pirates Cove. The graphic design has been updated. It doesn't maybe look like it's been updated, but
Home of the slowest moving kids in the whole state.
Pirates Cove. So I went there. I don't know how young I was. I was probably 5 or whatever. And I've brought up this place a couple times, and I think I've brought up a few times. It's not 5-timers, but it's a couple times. There was a UFO ride back in the day where you would go inside, and there was a video that would play that would show you launching into space, and I thought it was 100% real.
Oh, cool.
And it flipped. It made me nuts. I thought we were going into space, and I was so scared.
What's happening actually on the ride? What kind of ride are we talking?
We're talking a little UFO-shaped place. You walk inside, you sit down, and they hit play on a VCR.
So not even does the
There's no
room not
movement.
move? Oh,
No
we're not,
movement.
this is not even a ride.
This is just a video screen that shows you like, hey, and now here we go. And then there's like a shot of the UFO that you're supposedly in. It's probably like night, which doesn't make sense either because it's daytime when you're in there, and but your kid brain doesn't put it together. And then the UFO launches off into space, and if you're little enough, you believe it. Or dumb enough, I guess, you believe it that you're going into space.
I wish I had that still. Well, how great would it be every day that you think things like that, or that you take everything on faith at a theme park?
Yeah.
I love that.
I'd
love to be tricked fully.
I love to get, in wrestling they say worked. I love to get worked. I love to get tricked. I like it when I think something might be real, but it's not. That's fun. Now, is it also maybe scary? Maybe it would also turn your day into a terrifying nightmare of like, oh my, like if you go to Disney, you're like, I was on a runaway train and then I was in a rocket ship going into the middle of space. Like maybe it would be a little too intense depending on your level.
To go into a mountain,
and
there was a monster in the mountain several times and he swiped at me.
Yes, a woman in a puppy coat started screaming at me and she told me she was going to like take me and put me in a puppy processing plant or something. Like it would be a little too much. I think that the face character should be saying something like that.
There is a dirty old house where the dead do not rest.
Almost 1,000
There's
ghosts.
a haunted house telling me that they're going to kill me and put me in the
Countless
house.
ghosts. I saw many, but by their math, there's a lot more I haven't seen.
Yes.
One of them came home with me. So that's why I'm just calling you right now. I'm quarantining. I assume it's the same rules as COVID. I feel like by 2 weeks, that ghost is going to be gone. But
right.
I just want to be safe. I don't want you to get haunted.
I want and be careful. Don't think I saw my dad give his credit card. He paid for us to go in this place.
This nightmare world.
Choice. We chose this. We gave our hard-earned money away.
Yeah.
So yes, exactly. This is. I thought I was going into a real pirate ship. I thought a lot of it was real. Obviously, as a lot of little kids do. So now, you may wonder why was there a UFO in the middle of Pirates Cove? I don't know the answer to it. I don't know the answer to this question. I could not find even documentation that the UFO was there. I know it was there. Unless somebody's going to tell me this is some weird, like there was a one-off UFO attraction in a parking lot somewhere, which I do not believe. It was at Pirates Cove.
Yeah, there's 2 reasons, I think. One, you can't copyright pirates or aliens.
That's true.
And 2, just get in there. Kids like it, probably.
Yes, of course. Kids like aliens, kids like pirates. So let's put up a slide, Pirate Slide 1, real quick, just to give you kind of an overview of what the park looks like. This is, again, a newer map in a newer version of it.
That was very handy.
So yeah, this is we're on YouTube if you're just listening and if you're dying to see what this park looks like. Now a lot of it hasn't changed. I would say that the big showpiece is that pirate ship right there, which is number 5, Pete's pirate ship. Pete is the pirate. Okay, this is the IP of the Elk Grove Village Park District. Is Pete the pirate? I assume you heard him in the commercial there. That's a performer playing Pete. And this was like a really impressive ship to a kid because it had like stocks. It had like a little jail in like the bottom floor of it, but then you could go on the top and they had the big wheel and you could spin the big wheel around. And going on it as a kid, that was the whole thing. That was the attraction to me, is going to get to hang out on the ship. And they had like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It looks like it's gone, but you used to be able to hold on to like these big yellow plastic pieces that were on zip lines and like fly down into a bunch of sand.
Wow.
Does that make sense? You remember like something like, not one of those where you'd hold on like kind of with your two hands, but one that was just like you would sit on this yellow like seat and you would like hug this like yellow piece of plastic and then they would shoot you down into the sand. And that was so much fun. And going to this thing, as a kid, you knew it wasn't Disney, but it was pretty fun and felt kind of special. And I'm impressed that it's actually still there. This was built in 1981. I saw some figure of like $750,000 to build this, which, look, if you look at the video, it seems a little high. No offense to Pirates Cove, but it seems a little high because like I believe they had that little train ride that we saw in there, and they had the ship and they had like a carousel of some kind. But there's not like an e-ticket to be found here, which is okay.
Maybe there was like a bunch of chemicals in the ground or bodies. They were like raising a bunch of corpses, and that added to the expense.
Can we go to Pirate Slide 6? Now these are walk around costume characters that I don't recall seeing.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
But these are fun. These are fun as hell.
Giant-headed pirate,
and that's Pete with a giant head and a giant smile. Like imagine Mickey Mouse at Disneyland, but he had like a big set of teeth. Like imagine Mickey just like with his like big like Ren and Stimpy style human teeth.
And the bottom row of teeth as big as the top. That's really the unsettling part here.
Imagine remember Sonic's teeth? We all remember Sonic's teeth from the first version of the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Imagine those teeth on any of the costume characters at Disney or Universal. Like Woody Woodpecker with big teeth or Frankenstein with big teeth. You're kind of in the ballpark of what this Pete the Pirate looks like.
Yeah, he looks a little like a minor league baseball team mascot that is going to do a foot race with other minor league baseball mascots. And whether they're a pirate or a watermelon, they're all smiling.
Yes, they're all smiling.
What lucky team has a watermelon for a mascot?
Gotta be a watermelon. I mean, everyone sends me. It delights me to no end when someone tells me, "Hey, a minor league baseball team has a hot dog mascot now, or like has a Scrapple mascot now," and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta buy more hats.
Scrapple
is there
mascot?
A Scrapple
there
mascot?
Is a Scrapple one, I believe. There's a pork roll one, I think,
oh my
and
God,
a Scrapple
we gotta
one.
look into that.
So,
a big piece of Scrapple though is either just gonna look like a brick,
it's just a slice.
Or like a
Scrappy?
Yeah,
is it called Scrappy?
I don't know. I don't know if they've assigned names to the character. Like,
well, you can't just wet our whistle a little bit. We need the full meal here.
This may be a topic before the Boys of Summer are gone, that we look at minor league baseball mascots.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
For the Boys of Summer.
The Boys of Summer. The term refers to baseball when baseball's over.
The song Boys of Summer is about baseball players calling it a season, basically.
Well, it says, "I'll love you even after the Boys of Summer are gone."
I didn't know this, honestly.
I think that's what I always heard.
Really? Did you know this?
No.
About the Boys of Summer?
I didn't. I've tried to not think about the Boys of Summer as much as possible.
Well,
I'm going to take a wild stab based on the general music tenor of the show that you both are fond of the song "The Boys of Summer."
Both the Atari and the Atari version. I was just in a.
Oh, you guys!
I was in a casino just
I kinda
yesterday,
like the Boys of
and I
Summer.
went. I was
Well,
like, Jason,
You
I'm
did a
playing-
mic point?
He
Yeah,
says
I
I
did a
do
mic
a
Point
point.
that you do when an extremely obvious and omnipresent song comes on.
I think it
in
was
public.
I think it was
Oh,
that
no.
it was playing in the bathroom, but then when I came out into like the hallway of the conference center, they were playing like "Turn Down for What" or something, and I was like, "Well, they got multiple tracks. They got multiple music setups."
Because Atari's, of course, the only difference is they changed the sticker.
That's right. That's a black flag.
It's a black
sticker.
flag sticker.
Isn't
which-
that interesting?
What are you talking about?
There's a line I saw like
I saw a deadhead sticker on a
Cadillac
Cadillac.
in Boys of Summer, and then they changed in the Atari's version to I saw a black flag sticker on a Cadillac.
Yeah.
But then that's the only lyrical change in those two versions.
Is there anywhere in this pirate park I can drown myself?
Oh yeah, Buccaneer Bay boats. I saw
yeah,
it.
there are
It's
Buccaneer
number
Bear
8.
Bait. Do I have?
I'll let a boat hit me in the head.
I don't actually have
bludgeon
a
me,
photo
and then-
of that but it's not that interesting. I think they're like little kid paddle boats, and I can't remember if they had that when I was younger. I was always a little bit, I guess, scared of those little boats, but they're very shallow. So, let's see. Let's go to slide 3. Okay, wait, no, hold on a second. Let me wait a reveal. I'm realizing it's a reveal.
Oh, okay. I want to look at. Okay,
Here's-
okay.
So when I was like 9 or 10, let's say, I remember them announcing a big expansion for
boy.
this place, this
Huge.
Pirates Cove. There was a big thing coming next summer or whatever, and I was pretty psyched. And it was a new theme. It was Camelot.
Oh.
And my kid brain was like, when I saw a photo of this, I went, holy crap, this looks amazing. This is like some crazy like Disney style castle. Now, I haven't thought about this in 30 years or whatever, or 20, however old I am. And I found a picture of what Camelot looks like.
Okay. All right.
And here it is.
Okay.
Remember, I built this up very big in my mind.
Place of
this
your
is slide
dreams.
3.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh no.
It's
Now-
like a giant like plastic like what you'd have in your backyard, just very big.
Yeah, it is not bad, but I went, whoa, that's it? My memory of it was that it was going to be a big castle, like the ship was a big ship. That's not the case. I mean, it looks fine. This is a smallish theme park. And
You were when like looking at that artwork of Galaxy's Edge before it opened, like the ornate painting that was up outside of the site.
yes,
You thought that Camelot would be a 20-acre endeavor, and that
right?
The castle would tower high into the sky.
Right. I think it's like it looks like it's maybe 25 by 25, and there is a big dragon slide, which is awesome. And there's a little photo of it here, and we'll put some more photos online.
Does the in the map it looked like the dragon had an eye patch? Does that square with your memory?
I don't remember the dragon. I'll say this about it: I believe when Camelot was installed, it was the last year we went.
Okay.
That I was too old for it after this, so I don't remember a lot of Camelot. Camelot was not in my like prime going days. This was sort of I would love to know exactly, but like no one was documenting this. No one was documenting my life this hard.
Right, because in the commercial, in the audio of the commercial, it said ages 2 to 9,
Yes.
and that is a certain kind of park.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, you're too old for this.
There's no roller. Like the other place that I went to a lot was Sns Village. That at least had a roller coaster or two. There were at least some like that had a tilt-a-whirl,
Yeah.
which is something that everyone can enjoy. But this is a little kid park. So yeah. So I did not get to. I don't have many memories of Camelot other than just seeing like an ad for Camelot.
So is a parent at Pirates Cove struggling? Is it just like, well, it's something for them to do?
I don't think you can get a drink if that's what you're asking.
I wasn't, but I guess that's a fair question, being that like, no, I'll say that I have not had a drink with my son at Chuck E. Cheese, despite having recently taken him to a far away Chuck E. Cheese for him to see a full munch.
Right.
I did want to introduce him to the band, which
That was-
I did one by one.
That was a short trip though.
Yeah.
If he was having a full birthday there.
Yeah, I would maybe partake
Dad
in beer
has
and
a
wine.
beer.
Yeah.
Maybe
This was
he has
all.
a
It was
wine.
also 10 a.m. and I'm not that bad yet.
yeah. Plus, you want to be clear-headed for the show, for the rock and roll show.
Yeah. No,
Does Chuck E. Cheese do Boys of Summer? Can you do a quick Google while I'm talking
I'd
about
love
this?
that. Let me see.
Especially early 90s Chuck?
That seems very possible.
Yeah, I think so.
Where they do the song sincerely, but then like, gee, Jasper, I love baseball season.
The baseball players are going away. Didn't you know what the song was about?
It's November, way past summer, so you know what that means. The boys of summer
are gone.
It makes me hate that in the song. The boys of
It doesn't make any sense.
summer, and slightly after and slightly before.
Baseball ends in October.
Baseball goes forever.
Yeah.
It's not just summer.
Boys of
Not by a
summer.
long shot.
I got to look up that too.
Stupid
See
handling.
if
Well, fall ball's got a very different feel to middle of summer.
Fall ball?
games. Fall ball. You never heard of fall ball?
I've never heard of
The
fall ball.
playoffs in the series.
Let's see. So there's a better. Let me get a better picture of Pirate Slide 5. This is a better picture of the pirate ship because this is the main attraction here.
Okay, yeah.
And it's pretty. It's in my mind, it looked like the Black Pearl. This isn't quite that, but you can see there's like levels to it. There's cannons. Like you can pull, like as a kid, you can pretend you're pulling the cannon. They don't let you climb like the top to get in the observation tower or anything. Obviously, that would be too dangerous. But this felt like This felt like the closest thing to home, maybe, other than a Chuck E. Cheese, where you could get in some sort of imagineered place.
Sure.
You could get in
this is
some
great.
sort of immersive
Yeah, I
place.
can't recall anything else like this other than like miniature golf and you walk through a castle, but then the rest is, it's
Right.
just
It
little
was not
things.
as themed the whole
Yeah.
way through.
I would have loved this for sure.
Yeah, a lot of this sort of stuff near me, it was either indoor family fun centers with a small arcade, maybe a pizza kitchen, and like laser tag, or it was a pool and one water slide next to I-95. You're like, is this the best place for this? Is this the best place? Like, I don't think I have I have memories of driving by the water slide by I-95. And I know some kids who had like summer birthdays would do birthdays there. I have no recollection of ever going there.
Right.
But
If
this
you
is
slip, one slip and you're
one
out on
slip,
the road.
you're in the freeway. This is so much more like lush green,
I was gonna say the
outdoor space.
grounds are
Yeah.
that's the adult in me now. Like, oh, it's very well manicured grounds.
Let's go to Pirate Slide 7. I never saw anything really here or did anything, but this is the Pirates Wharf Fun Stage, which I found referred to just as the Fun Stage before. So it seems like they can put shows up. It feels like a local concert band could do a performance here as well.
This is a confusing scene. I feel like I'm seeing not just Peter Pan and Captain Hook, but also
Maleficent, perhaps.
Maleficent. I feel like there's an Aladdin in there.
Yeah, that
maybe
looks-
I feel like
Yeah.
a Tangled, Rapunzel, and maybe a Snow White on the left.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a
an all-star.
the greatest crossover event ever.
Are these teenagers or children or
Unclear.
college students?
Unclear.
Okay.
Maybe 11-year-olds. I mean, they look
Okay.
older. But the backdrop is like a little bit of pirates. I don't know, like a little town in the Pirates, whatever IP version.
Tortuga.
So this is Tortuga. There's an academy. There's a door that says academy. There's a door that says market. And then there's two doors that are open. Don't actually have doors. They're just holes in the wall called Blackbeard's Bank. So Blackbeard has a bank in this stage. So you could put on any sort of show about Blackbeard and his bank and his various, I don't know, financial
Yeah,
holdings.
the FDIC refuses to insure my holdings.
Yes.
Be sure to chain up those pens, lest you be losing them.
We've got safe deposit box, which is just McGruff. We've got safe deposit boxes.
What would McGruff say, but just with Yarg matey in the at the beginning?
Be careful of counterfeit banks, our matey. Yo hoy, ya landlubbers. Be careful of counterfeit bike helmets.
Yarg, counterfeit doubloons, infest pirate chests wherever. Also, don't you may be tempted, but don't pee in a pirate's chest. Yarg.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess they probably put on little shows here, and could we do a show on the Blackbeard's Bank stage? I bet we could. I bet Podcast the Ride could. I'm saying
We'd be doing him a huge favor.
I think so. And when I say show, I don't mean the live podcast. I mean a live pirate show that I wrote for us.
Oh, okay.
where Jason plays Blackbeard.
Yar.
Yeah. So, and then Scott, of course, plays Peter Pan, and I play a different Peter Pan.
I'd rather play Don Henley.
I play Pan. I play an older Pan, and Scott plays young Pan.
Oh, no.
Yar, I need some ID from one of you.
The big reveal at the end is that Jason is also Pan.
Everyone, Blackbeard is a secret Pan.
He opens a magical chest that turns him into Pan.
I was just playing dress up.
I'm getting Disney. I'm gonna have the Disney lawyers secretly bust the show.
All right. Well,
They'll all be disguised. You'll think that they're pirate extras, but then rip off their pirate clothing, and they're
all right.
Actually, they're to sue you for intellectual property.
Plain clothes lawyers, like the officers at sniffing drugs at the theme parks. So the one thing, I mean, look, I was trying to find some controversy, not much controversy. I found an ad for this in a Chicago Northwest Suburbs magazine, which I'll put pictures on Twitter. We don't need to look at them now. The one thing I realized as I'm looking through this, and I don't remember if I brought this up before, is that the Elk Grove Village park district seems like it's more fun than most park districts for some reason. And there are party rentals, places you can go. And I remember that one time there was a birthday party in Elk Grove Village, and they had, I swear to God, an animatronic. I cannot find any documentation of this. I cannot find proof that it exists, but I'm almost positive that's where it was. It was inside somewhere right next to Pirates Cove, because I remember being like, we're right next to Pirates Cove at a birthday. Now, here's the closest thing I could find, is that inside the park district, there is a birthday rental room. And this is Slide 8, Pirate Slide 8. And this place is called, and let me just make sure I'm getting it right, Jumps and Jiggles. Now, I don't know if Jumps and Jiggles is where I saw this animatronic, but I believe it is. I believe that at a certain point, Jumps and Jiggles had an animatronic, and I cannot prove it yet, but if anyone out there knows anything about the Elk Grove Village Park District and Jumps and Jiggles and the history of it, let me know.
An animatronic of what, you think?
I don't remember. I remember a very distinct sitting in a show, like a curtain rising up, and there being a robot.
Based on the photo, it's kind of a circus situation. There's some trapeze monkeys. So could have been a monkey. There's a bear on a bike.
Could have been any of these things.
It's got the high tubes where you're I don't know, 12 feet, 15 feet off the ground, and one of them leads to a little fake helicopter, which is really fun.
That looks new. That looks like maybe that wasn't there when I was younger. I'll tell you this, I love a nice high tube as a kid. As a kid, holy crap, was I excited when you saw third story tube like this.
Yeah, and
the higher the better.
I feel like stand-ups or something, people have stories ew, and then you stuck in the tube with the stinky kid, or someone shit.
Which stand-up has the act?
I don't know. First off, I knew you were going to ask that, but I feel like everyone has horror stories in the tube, and I only have fond memories of a high tube.
Kids could have farted on me all day in that tube. I love those tubes so much. I never noticed any. Maybe I did notice a smell, but I was having too much fun. Your
stand-up act is when you get in the tube with the smelly kid, and it's great.
Remember?
Look, you got to accept that a high tube's going to be a little musty in one way or another.
I don't remember a single moment when I was unhappy to be in a tube.
Yeah.
You don't see them a lot these days, I don't think. Chuck E. Cheese definitely...
They got rid of most of their tubes, I believe.
Yeah, but maybe independent play centers still have their... What are we calling them? High tubes?
High tubes. Especially high tubes. Ones that seemed really high up. Even though I was afraid of heights, my feet were not dangling. My legs were not dangling in these scenarios. So it just felt like you were going up in a cool little structure, especially when you were a little kid.
Well, it's it gives a kid a chance to pretend that they're John McClane.
Yes.
What else? What other scenario would you have where you're having to sneak through vents and be stealthy?
That's true.
Because this comes up, you're not called upon as a kid to save a Christmas party from terrorists very often.
Exactly. So look, was I allowed to watch Die Hard until I was 17? No, I wasn't allowed.
I don't think I watched it until I was 25.
Yeah. I'm still catching up on all the R-rated movies I wasn't allowed to watch.
Yep.
But yes, high tubes. Here. So I'm putting that out. If there was an animatronic in Elk Grove Village, I want to know about it. Send me letters. Don't email me. Send me a letter. explaining this.
Also, Jumps and Jiggles, I just want to say, is my favorite Brian Setzer orchestra song.
Yeah.
That one's really hopping.
Yeah, it really sings.
I would say that's a
really
cool
humps.
one, Daddy-O. I would say.
Jumps, Jiggles, Jumps, Jiggles.
But I was trying to find like, controversies. Did something dumb happen here? And there was an issue, I think, where some of the water had too much chlorine and people got it in their eyes and they had to shut down for a little bit. And I think there was some financial issues maybe at a certain point, but it was all owned by the city. So I think as long as they're charging money and
That's
recoup.
interesting. My childhood miniature golf course is now owned by the city, which feels weird. You're in an arcade that's owned by the city. You're playing a giant Monopoly game that the city owns. There's something strange about it. I guess nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it a socialist's dream to have the state owning the themed entertainment? I don't know. What is DeSantis? DeSantis doesn't want to own Disney, does he?
This is pork.
He shouldn't.
We have to cut the wheel. Why are we paying for the back and forth basketball hoops?
Look, there's a lot of things wrong in the country, but if a senator or a congressperson would slip in some like state-owned or country-owned theme parks into bills, I wouldn't be mad.
Just a little bit of funding for high tubes.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
High tubes everywhere. High tubes at the bank. High tubes at
Viable
not the bank, at the post office.
transportation option, possibly. Take
Yes.
a high tube to work.
At the bank, I keep saying the bank, at the post office, which is government controlled.
You're thinking of Blackbeard's bank. That's
I am.
why.
I have Blackbeard's bank
We'll all
on the
be
brain.
thinking of Blackbeard's bank.
There's a bill in the California Senate to establish a Blackbeard's public
yeah.
banking and Blackbeard's
That's
bank.
what I'm thinking
and-
of.
Yeah.
We're going to let the pirates take over the banks? We thought the current financial institutions were corrupt.
Yeah, no. That's going to be a talking point in November. So anyway, this is it. Yeah, this is Pirates Cove. This is Jumpin' Jiggles.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How maybe if we're digging to the core here, how do you how do you think that Pirates Cove or Jumps and Jiggles affected you in a way that maybe even Disney parks did not? Is there any way that we should all think about this for all of them, that this specific place made any of us the strange adults that we are today?
That is a good question. Here's what I'll say about Pirates Cove, and I guess then Chuck E. Cheese, is that there was something to the fact that going anywhere that was far felt like we were going to the moon, felt like we were going somewhere impossible because we didn't travel a lot. And we went to Disney World, but that felt like an ordeal. I got sick going on there. It felt like we were, what's his name? The other guy from the Bible going through
Moses?
the desert. Moses, thank you. Gosh. Moses to the desert. Like, it felt like an ordeal to go anywhere, like a stressful thing. So getting to go somewhere themed that felt nearby, I think made, that brought, I guess what I'm saying is it felt like you went through such a crazy ordeal to go to Disney World. That almost felt like a different universe. So seeing the stuff in your universe locally was, I'm sure, part of making me weird and obsessed with this stuff. Because
having an outlet for it.
Getting to go home after being on a pirate ship, after seeing Blackbeard's bank and going home that night, it brought it closer to the real world for me.
Yeah.
If that
You're
makes
like,
sense.
what a day. You're lying in your little bed.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, that was really fun.
It was important to note that the bed was little.
Yeah.
It was
When
a
you're
little.
lying in your little bed, your
Little-
little
your
boy,
little-
your little
your
boy
little
Well,
bed.
because Mike has always been 6 feet tall. So he, stretched out
That's
the
right.
double bed.
I was like that Rock in that picture when he's like 16 and he looks like he's a 40-year-old man. You know
Yes.
what I'm talking about. So, yeah,
That's
Pirates
beautiful.
Cove.
I would love to see Pirates Cove. I wish there was a Pirates Cove to take my kiddo to.
There are multiple Pirates Coves around, but I think it's generic enough
Could all start our own.
that we could, each of us have our own. Each of us do our own
I could
Pirates
at least
Cove.
just put the sign that says Blackbeard's Bank on my kid's room.
Yeah.
You'd probably think that was cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then charge him to
Wow.
get in.
Jason, let's delve in.
Sure, great. My park is called Playland, located on the beautiful Ocean City, New Jersey boardwalk. Would you, Brian, please bring up that aerial shot of this park? So this is just kind of establishing shot of part of the park. As you can see, you got a Ferris wheel. You have a the type of ride that Dr. Doom is.
Oh,
that
yeah.
tower. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
my favorite thing in this picture, if you look in the lower left-hand corner,
I see it.
You see a tilt-a-whirl.
Oh, I thought you meant the Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
No,
Yeah, that's what caught my eye too.
So Dairy Queen comes into play later, but there is a tilt-a-whirl, and that was my go-to every time I went to this park. Slightly past that, a little deeper, you see a roller coaster track, and that was called the Flitzer. And
The
that
Flitzer?
was the Flitzer,
Whoa.
yes.
With a Z?
Yeah, with a Z. So that opened in 1994 and closed in 2015. And I know this because, one, I was very sad when it closed because I still stop at this park every summer when I'm back at the Jersey Shore seeing family. But I also found out that local roller coasters are pretty well cataloged on Coasterpedia.
Really?
Yeah, because of another coaster that comes into play. So
Wow.
I went to Playland pretty much from when I was born to present day. And I should mention a connection to Mike's park. Brian, will you pull up that
The
image
bank?
that has
Blackbeard's
the
bank?
pirate ship in it?
Oh.
This park was renamed at some point in the later 90s to Playland's Castaway Cove.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's all around.
So it's a pirate ship, and this was very hard to locate. I found it kind of on a half-functional website. These characters that you see like in the sign and on the pirate ship are apparently named Captain Sebastian and his parrot chief.
Wow, so this is not Blackbeard, even though he has a black beard.
No, it's Captain Sebastian. Michael.
Captain Sebastian.
Captain Sebastian.
We don't know where he banks.
Anyway,
He might have his own bank.
here's a more recent photo of this facade. Brian, could you bring up that one
Uh-oh.
that is charred, I'll say?
Oh no.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember if I told this story on the podcast before or if I told it to you guys just when we were sitting around. So you'll forgive me for forgetting. But there was a fire in January 2021. And this facade, no, that's the shooting gallery. We'll get to that. The front of it was pretty badly damaged.
Oh no.
And so this all was happening, like I was watching the news updates. So here's the fire.
Oh my God.
This was a 4-alarm fire that happened in January 2021. And this was happening like in the morning as we were about to record the Fortune Teller episode with Avery Monson. And I'm like wiping tears out of my eyes.
That's why you kept audibly vomiting.
You were like, that's why you kept saying Captain Sebastian.
Well, because everything was burned. Brian, if you could bring up that aftermath picture of like everything kind of charred and burnt.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we were just seeing. That's where the pirate, where
That seems-
Sebastian
yes.
stood.
That seems targeted, doesn't it?
Well, the
Rival pirate.
the what's the law enforcement division? That's the Bureau of Narcotics and Firearms and stuff. They investigate it because I guess they investigate arsons above a certain level, and they found it was faulty equipment, like in the office space, like above or in the back,
In the pirate ship?
under
it.
the hangar,
Right.
that whole hangar, and
It was
so
just it's old and crappy, and maybe buildings that weren't meant to have a lot of electricity and
Yeah.
update. This probably should have been like torn to the ground and rebuilt.
Right.
Scott, that's a great point. Brian, I'm sorry to just throw this at you. If you could bring up the black and white photo. So I borrowed an ebook of one of those Images of America with the sepia covers you always see.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Playland back when it was apparently called Bingham's Kiddie Rides.
Bingham. Who's Bingham?
I don't know who Bingham was. This was news to me that it was called Bingham's Kiddie Rides.
Just a nice guy who wanted a lot of kitties around.
The hangar was originally used in the 1939 New York World's Fair and then packed up and put here as the boardwalk was developing. And that's a thing you should know about boardwalks. Fires happen a lot. And you'd think, oh, a cigarette on the wooden planks. Usually, no. It's electrical issues from 80 to 100-year-old buildings.
So you're saying there was no foul play at all. You're absolving any sort of...
Well, yeah, because most of the actual rides were untouched. Like, so what was taken by the fire was the arcade and the Dairy Queen and my beloved Hamburger Construction Company, which occupied one of the spaces.
Oh, did we talk about this recently? The Hamburger Construction Company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the deal again? Was there anything important about it, or just the fact that was the name?
Yeah, I mean, the food was always great, and the mascot was a little guy climbing a ladder onto a big hamburger.
So it was like a 1-inch man who would complete a hamburger for you?
Yeah.
Was he going to like sleep in it?
Oh yeah, where did he
Which
sleep?
does sound nice, sleeping in a big hamburger.
in between two big patties.
I mean, assuming it was cool or room temperature.
Oh,
If it was sizzling hot, I might not want to be in there.
The place was definitely not room temperature, certainly not air conditioned, mostly some fans. And shocking no one, the poor beleaguered man about my parents' age opted to just retire and not open the restaurant because they're still rebuilding.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
So the arcade isn't back yet.
The arcade's not back yet. No, it's just kind of pylons and stuff. But they are rebuilding it, and they're rebuilding the pirate ship.
Did anything? Wait, you said those buildings were gone, but like, did rides make it? There are things that didn't explode.
Oh, yeah. Well, Brian, if you could bring up the blurry image of a shooting gallery with a gorilla in it. So this was a shooting gallery. Again, as far back as I can remember, this was there. And I believe the creatures in it were from an old haunted house attraction that when they closed it, they repurposed them for a shooting gallery. And there's not a lot of pictures of the shooting gallery online. I pulled this from a very blurry YouTube video that I did not want to play because it's mostly the skeleton coming out of the coffin on the right, screaming.
Sounds scary.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's
Thanks
a gorilla.
for not showing a clip.
There's a Frankenstein. There's a skeleton playing a piano. And you shoot them with like the shooting gallery kind of guns from Disneyland.
Right. And then it would just do something fun, I assume. You wouldn't like kill them.
Yeah, they would just move or scream. A lot of screaming, a lot of shaking.
It would be funny if
That
it was
sort
just
of thing.
like you hit the ape and it was just like a realistic version of like, oh, like, and he like kind of grabbed the hole and like was just like writhing in pain.
You
Yeah.
shot smart ape.
Right.
Smart ape can somewhat convey feelings.
Look what you've done to me, Jason.
Why do you use your quarters to cause me pain?
I hope it's just like his bow tie spins or something.
You are
Yeah.
same as Trump sons who shoot wild game for fun.
Jimmy John's founder and you have lots in common.
So could we pull up the image of the facade that looks like it's a slide? It's kind of curved. So when around the time that this was happening, that the fire was happening and the demolition of the ruins was happening, I was looking for pictures of the facade that were decent. And I found one from the 70s in the Library of Congress website. And I had never seen this facade before.
Wow.
This is what it looked like in the 70s. They're advertising a ride called the King's Tomb. And then
Wow.
there's the Hamburger Construction Company, which they kept this sign for decades.
I see what sticks out to me right now is, of course, the Taylor pork roll.
Taylor Port, that's right.
You
Which
just
we've
wanted
heard-
to see the words Taylor pork roll on a nice TV. That's what this is
Me,
all been
me
heading
too,
towards.
yeah.
Well, there's that, and then you can see the tiny
Idaho
man climbing
French
onto
fries.
the hamburger.
Ooh, yeah, the tiny man. I like that. I like the Dairy Queen. I like the little Dairy Queen booth. I'm a big Dairy Queen fan. Do you know the Dairy Queen is still there, Jason?
What's
No,
that?
that was in the fire.
No, that was in the fire.
That was in the fire too. So
There's
is that not being rebuilt?
There's a smaller Dairy Queen further in the park.
Because here's I think I brought this up on the show, but not for a while. I swear it has been a while since I brought this up. But Dairy Queen, they have certain items on the menu that are not, if say you open up a new Dairy Queen, you are not given access to all the different items you could possibly have at a Dairy Queen. But if you've had a Dairy Queen open for 30 years, you can still have, say, a cherry dipped cone because it's been grandfathered in at your location, and they will still send you the ingredients to make these old Dairy Queen treats.
That a new franchise would maybe not be allowed.
Exactly.
To.
So,
Wow.
like, you go to the Dairy Queen in the Burbank Mall, and you can get maybe a chocolate dipped cone, but you can't get butterscotch and you can't get cherry. If you go to the Schaumburg Dairy Queen, which I went to my whole life, you can get cherry and butterscotch because it's been open for so long.
Look, clearly, this should have been the park that made you.
The Dairy Queen, yes.
Yes.
You could get a Nerds Blizzard at the Dairy Queen. You could get a cherry dipped cone, which I love. I recently got going back a couple years ago. But I wanted to know, this looks like an old Dairy Queen. And if they rebuild the Dairy Queen, will they still be allowed to serve the cherry dipped cone?
Oh, how do the grandfathered in
Exactly.
limitations work? I would argue that but it was an act of God, the fire, or whatever you want to. Look, the Dairy Queen didn't do it to themselves.
I agree.
And why would they? Because they would lose access to all of the grandfathered in recipes.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say this should be based on location, not physical walls. Damn it! I will argue this to the bastards who run Dairy Queen.
I'm in full agreement. I think this is great. I hope the people at Dairy Queen are as reasonable as you are.
Yeah, well, and there is a second Dairy Queen location within the park. So that, to me, says continuity of service, even during the rebuilding.
It's you can't have different things at the different Dairy Queens. That's bedlam.
I agree. Jason, when you go back and if Dairy Queen's back there, you got to tell me what kind of dipped cones you can get.
I'll keep an eye out.
Did you have cherry dipped as a kid?
Well, no, because we didn't really go to the Dairy Queen. We went to the local chain, the Coors soft serve.
You were anti-Dairy Queen?
No, we had plenty of Dairy Queens in our hometown, but in Jersey on the boardwalk, you went to Coors because they had the richer frozen custard.
Okay. Did you ever go to Dairy Queen on the boardwalk?
I must have, occasionally.
Did you ever have a cherry dipped cone at Dairy Queen?
No, I've never had that.
Dairy Queen not that well represented out here.
There's more now.
Yeah.
I would say they were not around when I was a kid whatsoever.
Well,
Right.
a lot of the Dairy Queens out here flipped to Foster freezes.
That makes me sad.
Those were franchises that broke off from Dairy
Makes me
Queen.
upset.
It makes you sick.
Hold on. I'm going to act again. I'm sad.
The sad noises are pretty good.
Thank you.
That's pretty accurate.
Hire me or us.
Yeah.
Get to that because if that's the starting point, and we know that the spinoff requires the most emotional range, as with Better Call Saul. If that's where you're starting, think how deep you can dig.
100%. That's how deep I can.
Yeah.
You've seen it here, and imagine the type of conversation you have with me on set.
So,
Sure.
hey, we
Cherry dipped cones. You ever had one? You ever had one? Did you know that you can get your grandfathered in if you want to go old Dairy Queen?
How old
Can't
is
be
the
a new
Dairy
one.
Queen around where you grew up? Because if it was 90s, then you probably wouldn't have had some of the things. But the further back it goes,
I'm trying to think. Like Francis Ford Coppola, what did you have
Hey,
in your
buddy.
Dairy Queen growing up?
Hey, look at me. Don't look away. Was there an old Dairy Queen in your town?
Make eye contact with me because
Make eye
I
contact
believe
with
you're
me.
lying.
Yeah.
So Francis Ford Coppola has made a return to television specifically, and he's hired the three of
Well, I
us.
could be in a movie,
and we're
too. We
talking
could be
his
in a
ear
movie.
off about Dairy Queen.
We could be in
statutes.
Tetro 2 as the lone
Lust,
gunman.
caution, the return.
I
Bram
guess-
Stoker's Dracula 2 starring the three of us. What? What's so funny about that? I think it works. 80-year-old Francis Ford Coppola decides to make Bram Stoker's
Yeah.
Dracula 2.
Something about that it's not some new. It's a sequel specifically to Bram Stoker's Dracula that he comes back for. It's
That's
not a
right.
new Dracula.
Yeah.
Not a new one. No, it's the same one. Jason plays Peter Pan in that for some reason. I don't know why.
We
but
filmed entirely at the Elk Grove Pirates.
That's
Cove.
right.
Yeah.
It's a low budget.
So what else about Playland? I remember when we went to Playland, I was messaging a little with friend of the show, Sean Rice, who we met and hung out with a little when we were down in Florida a few years ago.
Okay.
And because he, as always, messaged when I mentioned Ocean City on the show, because his family went there growing up too. And I said, do you have any memories of Playland or weird stuff? I'm forgetting about Playland maybe. And he goes, well, we were a Wonderland family. So it was kind of an adventure. It was an excursion if we went to Playland. Wonderland is the competing park at the other end of the Ocean City Boardwalk. Rides were a little bigger, catered to a little bit of the older kids. And one reason why we did not go there, every now and then we went there, but their tickets expired at the end of the season.
Oh.
Playland's tickets are good forever. So we probably are still, if we go and do a couple rides, are probably still using tickets from the early 2000s or the 1990s.
So you bought them in bulk at a deal, at a discount.
Well, what happens, both parks do the same thing. Off season, the tickets are half price.
Right.
And Playland also did a thing where on July 4th, all rides were half price. So if the Tilt-A-Whirl normally costs 4 tickets, it costs 2 tickets. So that night we went crazy. So the play was to buy your tickets before the season, but if you bought Wonderland tickets, you had to like use them before Labor Day or use them before mid-September.
Can you further define going crazy in this scenario?
We might do 5 or 6 rides in a night instead of 3 or 4.
Baby.
Holy shit!
'Cause we
you
did-
psychos.
You rode it
3.
so many times that this happened on the Tilt-A-Whirl.
That's right.
Can I say? Well, first of all, 2 things. So in an off season, they would sell Playland tickets for half price, but you could use them if you held on to them till the next summer. That's what you're saying?
Yes, you could use them every summer.
So it's as if Disney did some sort of a 3-day deal that they do out here, but you could hold it forever. So you could stock up. So
which my family has done.
I 100% believe it.
Like 10 or 15 years ago, my dad bought a 4-day park hopper, and he's like, yeah, we'll probably back next year or the year after. We'll use the other 2 days then.
Mm-hmm. But you can't do that anymore.
Not really. I don't think so.
Disney stopped letting you do that. So that's out.
Yeah.
But the Playland hack still exists.
The Playland hack still exists. Yeah. But I would always do the Tilt-A-Whirl and the Flitzer, and then ride 3 or 4 were like wild cards. Which probably my most unpleasant ride experience happened there too.
Oh.
You know that ride where it looks like the arms of an octopus and you're kind of going up and down, but you're also spinning?
Yeah.
My dad and I rode one of those one night, and it went to the point where you're like, wow, they're giving us a lot of time on this ride. It went past that point to like, we're starting to feel queasy. We'd like to get off this ride. And it's still going. And we're like waving, like, please stop, please. And it just kept going forever. And the teenager finally ended the ride, acted like nothing was wrong, but we were just like dizzy for like a while.
Yeah.
And you never you didn't question him, you didn't push him up against the rock. What was that? What was that all about, buddy?
I think we gave him some dirty looks or but it was very strange.
Do you think in hindsight, was it 5 minutes? Because like those rides, what last 2 minutes?
It was probably between 5 and 8 minutes.
8 minutes is a long time to spin around.
Yeah, it was.
Can I say the Tilt-A-Whirl? If you had asked me before, I guess non-Disney rides, Tilt-A-Whirl all day long was my favorite ride. I loved the Tilt-A-Whirl. I remember I haven't pushed it in a while. I pushed that we should do a Tilt-A-Whirl episode.
Yeah,
so excited.
Okay.
Oh, I
was
could
so
get
excited.
more.
I haven't been on a Tilt-A-Whirl in over a decade. Also, where is the nearest Tilt-A-Whirl from here?
From here, that's a good question.
I don't.
There's
think
maybe something because I remember this came up. I couldn't even really
You didn't
say
even know
what
what
a
it was.
Tilt-A-Whirl was.
or a Gravitron.
That's the one where the floor drops out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not really other than maybe carnivals or something. I
Is there
don't
like
think
an
in
electric-
the LA area
Electric Daisy Carnival we could all go to and get on a Tilt-A-Whirl
and only
Oh.
do rides and,
and
not
only do rides, no
do
LSD.
the music that we paid for?
Yeah,
There's
no.
both a county fair and a state fair going on
Oh,
now.
yeah,
so
that's
maybe
probably
That would be a
there.
good place.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So
I
that
love
was
the
one of
Tilt-A-Whirl.
my discoveries about. So the Flitzer, I was saying, that closed in 2015. And another coaster called the Python also closed in 2015. That was the first upside down coaster I ever rode. And I only rode it once because it was rough as shit and I hated it. The Python is now located. They sold them both. The Python is now located at a park called C.J. Barrymore's Family Entertainment Center in Clinton, Michigan.
C.J. Barrymore, who's that?
I
Very,
don't know.
Very vain man, I think.
am.
Or woman.
C.J.
Somebody who really wants their
Barrymore.
name out there.
I'm
So-
looking up C.J. Barrymore.
The Flitzer was sold to an amusement company and now travels around to carnivals. So it's still
Oh.
out there. If I can find a carnival with the Flitzer,
It's on the run.
I can relive my childhood.
Still called the Flitzer?
It is still called the Flitzer, but
Wow.
What's flitzing?
it's unclear. It's kind of futury. It sounds fast. But if I could just briefly talk about what replaced those two.
Yeah.
It's a large coaster called the Gale Force. And if we could get that image that says Gale Force on it. Yeah, here we go. So this is a small, compact coaster. It fits in the space of two smaller, family entertainment coasters previously fit in. And this is an SNS Coaster, which is like a major coaster manufacturer, like manufactures stuff for like Six Flags parks. I think a coaster, some Joker the Ride, are SNS coasters. So Playland announced that this was coming in 2016, and the other rides closed in 2015. It did not make the 2016 opening day. In 2017, it was operating sporadically, but everyone said it was very pleasant and very rough. So they're like, okay, we got some new vehicles for it. That'll make it smoother. And then in between during the off season, they just decided to retrack the whole ride. They judged it to be not ideal.
Suitable for a human.
Yes. So eventually 2018 comes around. It starts operating normally. And then in 2019, when they were running some tests on it, 2 crash test dumpies flew out of it into the nearby hotel.
into the balcony or the window?
Onto the roof, damaging
Simpsons
some
joke.
shingles.
Sweet.
Like the Stuntronic at Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Cool.
So another thing to notice about Gale Force, why it might not, anytime I walk by, it doesn't seem to be running, is it costs $10 to ride this single ride, or worse, 14 tickets.
Oh, boy.
So you're better off just spending the $10. And this promotional image, Gale Force, not what you want to hear when you're at the beach. And these storm clouds look like the sort of storm clouds that roll in before a summer thunderstorm that makes everyone flee from the boardwalk.
The promo image of Gale Force here is something where it's like, this ride would not be operating in these weather conditions.
Yes.
This would be extremely unsafe. This is not fun. This is not a fun storm either. This is a realistic storm.
Yeah. Also, a bold choice to call something Gale Force that was opening 5 years after Hurricane Sandy ravaged the shores of New Jersey.
If I was going to punch up this art, I'd say, okay, regular day, but then like a cartoon cloud making like the blow, like he's blowing like a little bit, and then he's got a little rain.
And his name is Gale Force.
And his name is Gale Force.
And now we've got original IP on there too.
Not John Force, Gale Force.
Oh yeah, I love John Force.
I just speaking of names, real quick, I was just trying to figure out what C.J. Barrymore is.
Yes.
And all I found, it says who owns C.J. Barrymore, and all I see here is a guy named Rick Iceberg.
So is there no C.J. Barrymore?
That's what
it's
I'm
a
trying.
pseudonym of Rick Iceberg.
Rick Iceberg might be C.J. Barrymore.
Whoa.
Does anyone want to guess what they renamed Python to at CJ Barrymore?
Python 3.
Nope.
Iceberg the Ride.
It's listed now as just Loop Coaster. Loop Roller
What?
Coaster.
Boring.
That's
Not
boring.
creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stinks.
So-
Yeah, no made up words like flitzing. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think if you're summing it all up, what did Playland give you that the corporate parks could not?
Well, I think due to my parents' rational and cost-effective method of like, all right, three rides tonight, please, 3 rides, and also we want to go home. It's late.
The pass we need to go. We can't go to the other one. The passes will run out.
Yeah.
Never Wonderland. We're not a Wonderland family. You hear me?
It was that, and then also one summer, Playland just doubled in size because they took over the empty lot next door, next to this historic hotel, the Flanders Hotel. Used to have these massive. I'll just show you guys this picture because I don't want to make our poor engineer bring up any more. But this used to have 3 saltwater pools outside. Oh, there it is. 3
He's
saltwater
got it.
pools.
Hotel Flanders. There it is in full bad res.
Yes. that empty lot to the right is where Playland is now.
That looks like the Grand Budapest Hotel or something.
It is
That looks
very much
like a Wes
grand
Anderson
old
hotel.
hotel, and it's got a very detailed history on its website,
Mm-hmm.
most of which is like, and then in this year, the Flanders fell on even harder times because, it dates back to 1916. So
Yeah.
it's seen some things, it's seen some wars, but yeah, this is back in the day where the amusement was you're on a boardwalk by the ocean and look at this public amusement, 3 saltwater pools. But
Yeah.
those closed in the late 70s.
That's how they all started. We wouldn't have any of these places if it wasn't just, hey, want to go to a pool?
right.
Yeah, and there was a previous Playland on the Ocean City Boardwalk, which I think was just like indoor roller skating and live music. And that, of course, burned down in a fire in the 30s.
All these fires.
There's a lot of fires in the history of New Jersey amusements. And New York, too.
And some of them were shady.
Some of them were definitely shady.
Yeah.
The Coney Island, like there were so many amusements
Yeah.
lost to time due to fires.
Okay.
Can we do the fire Final Four?
Yes.
Let's rank all of the
Theme park fires.
Yeah, what are
Theme
the
park
best theme
fires.
park
We
fires?
should probably ones with a low or 0 body count would be nice.
Yeah, those are out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that didn't kill anybody will rank.
Well, now
What
the
if it killed people in the 20s? Then nobody, we didn't,
Oh,
we,
it's
we
too
wouldn't,
long
we
ago?
wouldn't know them.
The
Yeah.
statute.
Yeah.
If
It's
it's
not
100,
sad anymore.
100 years or over is our statute of limitations.
There was a fire at a gift shop called Fisherman's Wharf when I was very young, like 6 or 7. And we heard about it on the news. And I was like, is that the Fisherman's Wharf we go to? Which was just a shop that sold like seashells and like maritime souvenirs and Simpsons toys. Like the first generations of brightly colored Simpsons toys. And was my favorite place on the boardwalk. And then it just burned down.
Oh, it was the one? It was yours?
That was the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, foul play or not?
Unclear.
Okay.
I'm not sure on
If
that
we
one.
crack one of these cases open, we may be in trouble, though.
I mean, that one seemed old in 1991.
I know, but I'm just
So-
saying, like, if we uncover like some sort of mob thing going on that set a fire, then like we don't want some. We're gonna have to really be careful. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some podcasters are onto us.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that, like, in a lot of these shore towns, 3 or 4 families run most things.
Yeah.
Like, Gillian's Wonderland is run by the Gillians family. One of the Gillians was the mayor for a number of years.
Well, was Rick Iceberg ever a mayor? Like,
Oh,
or
we're
he was
fucked.
far away?
Oh, wait. Here we are making fun of him, and now like the icebergs rule the town.
Yeah. We got to be careful.
Yeah, we're gonna get some scary packages, and then send mail
Chili.
for us to Forever Dog, not
Chili,
to our
yeah,
homes.
chili packages.
That's not fair to Forever
Icy.
Dog. Yeah, whatever. I'm not taking the hit.
Icy package. Iceberg will put
Can't
your
find me, Iceberg.
Iceberg will
Going
take
off.
your head off and he'll put it in a big cube. You don't want that.
So the big takeaway. This park taught you thriftiness.
Yeah, it taught you
Well,
how to save
thriftiness.
save a couple bucks.
But also, like, they did rotate rides a good amount. So I knew, like, okay, there's some stuff that never goes away and some stuff that does change. And then occasionally there's, like, a whole other section of park. Because, like, the park practically doubled over the course of, like, 1 year. I think the Playland people bought...
Oh wow, there he is.
Oh, there's Rick Iceberg.
Oh my God, we
Yeah.
found Rick. This is Rick Iceberg's LinkedIn. This has been sprung on us.
Yeah, Michigan.
Brian.
He's in Michigan.
Oh my
President.
God. Okay. Yeah. What have we learned from that?
President
he's the
of
president
C.J.
of C.J.
Barrymore.
Barrymore's.
Clinton Township. That might be. There might be some power there.
I don't know.
And
We're
a
gonna-
president.
We're gonna have to dig in here.
Rick Iceberg. Do we have a new guy? Do we
We'll
dare
see.
join to connect? This might be our method of finding a lot of people we want to talk to might be LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Way
oh yeah,
more than it's Twitter.
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah,
We should really get on LinkedIn.
How much I am on? I've got a burner on LinkedIn that I used to
nice.
look up.
What's the name?
Theme
C.J.
park.
Barrymore.
I don't remember what the actual name is.
Is it a fake name?
It's a fake name. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh wow,
we gotta-
you know what it is.
I don't know if it comes up right.
What do you think?
I don't know.
What-
No, I'm
come
not going
on.
to tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you because
You know
I
what
use
it
it
is,
to
though.
poke around on theme park people.
Oh wow, okay.
Jay Mysterioso.
The guy with the big mustache as the avatar or as the icon or whatever it is.
How much power do the auto workers unions have in Clinton Township, Michigan?
Oh, I don't know.
I
Well,
don't know.
we have to find that out before we make one more joke about Rick Iceberg.
That's right.
Well, moving on to me. Do I close it out?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to talk about the Balboa Fun Zone, which is part of the Balboa Peninsula in beautiful Newport Beach, California. And, we landed on this as an episode topic. Like, we're going to talk about kind of these core childhood parks. And it happened to line up perfectly with that I was going there in a couple days, that my parents had rented a little house on Balboa Island. It's like a place where you rent little charming cottages, and then there's like the one nice street with the little bit of shopping and the fun desserts.
Yep.
And so we did a little 3 generations trip where we took the boy down, and it was just it was a wonderful, nice time. But it lined up nicely to where I could look at this place that I went all the time as a kid with fresh eyes. So it worked out perfect. Basically, so Newport Beach, it's like half an hour from Disneyland probably. My dad spent a lot of summers there. We would go down to visit my grandma who lived there. The area is maybe mainly known pop culturally as the basis for where Arrested Development spends a lot of its time. The Banana Stand is based on this area. Like the main drag of what's confusing. There's Balboa Island, but then you go to the peninsula. But anyway, there's frozen banana stands around, and there's that deal where 2 of them claim to be the original, and they're only 5 doors from each other, and they're mad at each other. And what's the general feeling on frozen bananas? Because I wouldn't be fighting to claim them.
Well,
I don't think I'm not a fan, really.
Like them once in a blue moon.
you know me and bananas. It's a little bit of a little allergy,
why,
you know.
Oh, yeah. What am I saying? Maybe the frozen though somehow.
You know what? I'll
knocks
say
out
this.
the bad elements.
Frozen does probably help knock the bad elements out. If it's got the chocolate outside of it, it's better. Just frozen out by itself is not always the best.
Yeah.
If you like take a banana, if like sometimes you have frozen bananas if you're making a smoothie or something. If you want to eat it, it's like kind of, I don't know. It's not. I don't love it, but like if you got some chocolate a little bit on the outside, it's a good flavor. But I think it depends. I think it depends.
They dip them right there. Like,
Yeah.
That's a pretty.
Yeah.
There's these things called Balboa bars that are really fantastic. That are kind of like hand dipped. Klondike bars a little bit.
yeah.
You pick it, and
Sure.
while the chocolate is hardening, then you
can
dip
do
it
some
in
other
sprinkles
stuff.
and Oreos
Yeah,
and
there you
stuff.
go.
My kid loved it. It might be up there. My dessert zone might be like it's the white. It's like vanilla with chocolate casing.
They'll do that at California Adventure. They will make a version of that where they dip and they'll put some sprinkles or nonsense on it.
Clarabelle's.
Oh, really?
Clarabelle's.
Okay,
That's up
okay.
at the front
Named
of the park.
after the cow character.
I think so. Has
Favorite
to be.
cow.
Yeah, you're talking about the one next to Starbucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one where you can get the Mickey sundae in his pants.
Sometimes.
It comes in his little
comes and
legs?
goes.
Comes in his pants, yeah.
But when it
comes in his pants.
It's not what
in his
I.
pants.
Mickey's pants.
No.
dig in.
You said it. I'll do it again.
But that was when they first opened. They were like hand dipped ice cream bars, and then pick what you wanted to roll it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
chocolate
Okay.
chips, sprinkles.
I think those are still there.
they're still there. Yeah.
Okay, good.
This little main drag, whatever you call it in Balboa, it's a real like stroll down memory lane for me, because there's the 2 dessert places, and then right between them is a very compact little church where we would go on vacations. And I remember it really specifically from when the sermon was, the only one I remember was when the sermon was all about dogma, when the priest was
The movie
furious about
Dogma.
Yeah. There is a film coming out. I don't remember the details of. There is a character who is like, what's Chris Rock in it?
Oh, he was the 13th disciple.
That's mainly. I think it was.
Apostle?
That's what they're trying to shock you with. Like, they claim that there is a 13th apostle.
Apostle.
And he is quite profane. Like, it's the only sermon I remember. Maybe.
Wow, that's so funny. The movie wasn't that popular.
No, it's
No.
weird that it even got on the radar of we're going to be mad.
Yeah.
I remember a sermon about that and a sermon about powder.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's my
Powder?
primary. I'd kind of just be like snoozing in church a little, and then like
What was
a pop culture reference. That's the movie about like
I know what it is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
why Powder? What was about Powder? That
Don't remember. Yeah,
is Powder anti-religious?
Maybe.
Does he have powers? Does
Yes.
he have like?
He
Is
has
that why?
powers.
Is it like a black magic thing?
If you get
There's a lot of
remotely
movie with
imaginative,
powers.
the Catholic League would be after your ass.
They'd
like,
find
they
her.
would
Yeah,
just get
yeah,
so
yeah.
furious.
They imply that a special boy named Powder has powers akin to Jesus Christ.
Were they mad about phenomenon, like the John Travolta, like?
I don't remember a sermon about phenomenon, but that might have been an off summer. I might
Well,
not
Mike-
have been in Balboa.
Michael was the Travolta angel movie.
Oh, they
They
must.
loved
Oh,
Michael.
okay.
Right?
No, Michael's a nice one though. That's
Yeah,
a
they loved
religious-
Michael, that's
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's an affirming movie.
But maybe they didn't like Phenomenon.
Am I conflating phenomenon and,
And
Michael?
I believe
Did he
you are.
do?
Everyone does all
Yeah.
the time. They're
Okay.
essentially this. It's like the same vibe and obviously
Exactly,
the
yeah.
same primary cast.
It's an Armageddon Deep Impact kind of thing.
Except the same
Except the
star.
same person, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Powder was different. Though Powder, I do get kind of confused with Phenomenon.
Yes.
Because they were both like people that had like a problem that killed them.
Maybe.
I've only
think
seen
so.
Phenomenon. I've not seen Powder.
Kind of like Jesus.
Kind of like K-Pax.
Kind of. No, I never confused
You
K-Pax
never
with these other
confuse
ones.
K-Pax.
There's only
so-
one K-Pax.
So
Yeah.
which is the twin? Is it Michael and Phenomenon or Phenomenon and Powder?
Which the what?
Which is the
Which are the twin moot? It's like a two
Phenomenon and Powder.
Phenomenon
are
and Powder
similar.
are, I
Are-
think,
Michael
like
is
thematic,
angel.
Yeah,
That's
thematically
different.
similar.
sets. Okay.
And Michael
And Phenomenon
and Michael are
are
Travolta.
just Travolta.
They're just
Yeah.
the twin
Travolta feel
element.
goods where
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
playing Motown songs and he's dancing around in a big coat.
Elton John. Eric Clapton, I think If I Could Change the World was on the soundtrack to Phenomenon, I believe. I believe we've talked about Phenomenon before, and I believe I explained that my sister and I, when we came home from seeing it, we got a string and we tied it to her Barney doll's hand, and we started making Barney do Phenomenon moves.
Let's make Barney play
We
Phenomenon.
knew it was funny. We weren't like we love Phenomenon. We were just like, hey,
Yeah.
Mom, look what Barney's doing. And he's like making a spoon move or something.
Barney's
Yeah.
Phenomenon
Barney
now.
is Phenomenon.
Okay, just don't play Powder. There's no playing Powder in this house.
No, we did not play Powder.
Wow. Well, if they were opinionated about pop culture back then, I think that culture has remained in this area. Because when I say that I got to experience this area with fresh eyes, I kind of wish that I didn't have fresh eyes because there are some things that I could not unsee. And this area, if you don't know, all of Orange County, where Disneyland is, it's a very conservative area. So I shouldn't have been surprised, but it's also just I didn't remember it from my childhood, and it's probably louder and prouder now. Things you might see are there was a private dock that had a mast, then they're flying flags, and one of the flags is a thin blue line flag, and another flag is a don't tread on me flag, which, if you're in the area not just of boat ownership, but of dock ownership, I think that's precisely where you are not being tread on.
Yeah.
Like no treading is occurring.
They're not creative signs either. At least give us some like fresh signs, I feel like.
Well, which we'll get into.
Oh, okay, good. Thank God.
Less flags and more shirts, which we'll find in the theme
Okay.
park,
Oh,
the amusement
well,
zone.
okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
very excited about some of these finds. Also, like one thing that really caught my eye was a very ornate, like a nice, life-size sculpted statue of Ronald Reagan in a private backyard.
What?
like which we could see because it's overlooking the
Right.
marina or whatever. So just among the plants it's a half Reagan. That's how you save money if you want one in your home, I guess.
A bust, technically?
But is it a bust? Because a bust is almost like shoulder. It was all the way waist down. So you had like full suit jacket. You had all of his buttons.
Interesting.
And he's waving. But like I know they all love Reagan, but
Yeah.
enough to where you're going to pay for a Reagan statue to where you live. You need to live with a half rate, with a slice down the middle Ronald Reagan.
Like a magician cut him in half.
Yes,
in a
like the
box.
cleanest cut, a perfect magician's cut.
I'm trying to think about this. Okay, do those type of conservatives love Reagan as much as I love like Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles? And I'm trying to think because I have quarter scale toys of characters I love, so I'm trying to think, would I have a Michelangelo cut off at the waist? Full, like sounds like this is 1-to-1. Like, was it bigger than like Reagan would be, or is it about like a human size?
I think the size, yes.
So it's like 1-to-1 basically.
Mm-hmm.
Would I pay for that in my backyard?
A giant? Oh yeah,
Michelangelo.
I would. I don't even like Michelangelo's. If I could
which turtle would you get?
Michelangelo.
Oh, he was your guy. Who was your guy of turtles?
I think it was either Leonardo or Donatello.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I guess. In their fantasy world, Reagan is cool as Michelangelo, which, by the way, not true. Bullshit.
No, obviously
not nearly as cool as Michelangelo. So I guess I could see it. I guess I understand it from that perspective.
If you think of, to a conservative in the 80s, Reagan is your Michelangelo.
Yes, exactly. He's as cool as a Ninja Turtle.
But how deep do they go? Are they watching Bedtime for Bonzo? Like, are they watching?
Yeah, what movies of Reagan's did they like?
His many shitty movies.
That's a question is if you have, because I do sense that people have to pretend to like The Apprentice if they love Trump.
Right.
They have to like retroactively like, oh yeah, that was great. You're fired. That's funny.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah.
But do you have to, whatever boring Newt Rockney movie that Reagan, I bet some people do. I bet they like, Andy was the finest actor, the most wonderful films. More film opinions. I stopped and ate at a charming little hot dog restaurant. I had a very good Chicago dog there, and not a lot of seating. So I was on like a very narrow bench that was kind of like there were women at a counter inside literally talking over me. So I'm like under them and I'm hearing their whole conversation. And I could not help but start to write down details because the conversation was these two women in their 50s, 60s bemoaning how they just can't talk to their daughters anymore because it always becomes a fight. It always gets political. And even when I lay out very clearly that, look, the voting machines don't give you a receipt anymore. They don't even print us. How can you know? Yeah, remember the voting machine receipts?
Sure.
Which proves that there wasn't if they show you a receipt, they can't have cheated. I have proof that my vote went in because they gave me a little CVS slip.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you're talking. People are just like, literally the fight is happening because like somebody's like, Mom, the election wasn't stolen, and then it's over. Then the fight starts.
Mom,
we start talking about if the election was stolen or not, and then it becomes political.
Mom, you used to vote in a thing where you pushed a bunch of levers down, and you pushed a big lever to open the curtain to leave the voting booth. What receipt was generated?
You had to make the curtain go like you're operating a curtain at a play?
Did you not have that? Like,
nothing that crazy, no.
It's in the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Pecker?
No.
Okay, there's a point where
Pecker is not
powder. There's a point where Pecker and Christina Ricci, I think, are fooling around in a voting booth.
Everyone's fantasy.
And it's the ones with all these little levers in it where you click down the candidate you want, and then the final big red lever registers your vote and opens the voting booth.
Oh, it's one swoop.
Yeah,
so that
it's
you can't,
one swoop.
Yeah, that locks it in.
Yes.
Wow. That's exciting. I
That
think
is fun,
I think
yeah.
voting numbers would go up if they
That would be
brought
fun.
fun stuff
Yeah.
like that back.
All my schools were like, polling places. And so then if they were still around before or after the election, they would take us in and they're like, here's how you vote.
Oh, cool.
This giant contraption.
Oh, big old levers. Bring those back.
would be fun as hell,
I don't care who gets elected in the next presidential election. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
All I care about is big levers coming back.
Yes.
Anyway, then the conversation went in the direction you would think it would, and then it got into and it's even happening at Disney, and I perk up. Oh, here we go. She says, well, Susan, she's worked there forever, and she just quit because they're doing the woke agenda. She says the woke agenda, they're going back into the old movies, and they're putting in LGBT stuff.
What?
And that's not right. The movie's from 50 years ago, and that's not right.
What?
That's changing history.
Yo.
Yeah, what does she?
What is she talking about?
They're making this. They're making the seven dwarfs kiss. The dwarfs are all kissing now, and I don't think that's right. Regardless of how you feel about it, it doesn't add to the plot. We don't need to see them just kiss for 7 straight minutes.
She didn't say the kissing thing
no.
though, because I was like, for a second, I go, maybe he's doing a bit. Maybe that is what the women were saying. We're out to lunch here, so we can go pretty far.
Mickey doesn't even do the magic anymore. The sorcerer comes in and he just gets on his lap and they make out. And I just don't think that's
rubes.
right.
These fucking rubes. Who would have thought decades-long diets of Tab and Lucky Strikes and lead paint chips would just be rotting their brains in their golden years? This is how they're spending their golden years. They're having
being mad at their daughters and quitting companies that are doing because of what they think they're doing that they aren't.
I would at least give them credit if they were like. I wouldn't give them any credit, but it would be something if they were like, America Chavez in Doctor Strange 2 has 2 moms. And you'd be like, well, that is true. Mm-hmm. They're wrong, but they're saying true things. They don't have any facts. They have no facts. They're out to lunch.
No, now it's Bambi. They went back in and gave Bambi 2 moms. And it's just confusing. One of them dies, but the other's still around. So it reduces it lowers the stakes.
Funny.
It's just a worse movie.
Yeah. So funny.
So their
scary.
friend quit Disney because of things that aren't happening. And then, but you know what? It worked out for Susan because have you heard of the Genesis Project? Oh no, what's the Genesis Project? Well, it's in Kentucky and it's great. They have a Noah's Ark. They made a Noah's Ark.
Let's go.
They started talking about, if you remember our episode about the Ark encounter, where they made a lifelike Noah's Ark with dinosaurs in it because it had to be to the letter of the Bible. And they have a creation museum, and it's so I'm overhearing conversation about their friend who left Disney to go work for Ken Ham.
Wow.
Is that his name? Ken Ham?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Iceberg and ham. I'm not saying they're too similar. I'm just saying
that's
fun
the
names.
X versus Sever of 2022. Podcasting 2022. Wow. Iceberg versus Ham.
So somebody went to work for Ham, which... Whew.
Yeah. A Disney to Ham defector. I don't know if they happen often. I was very scared when she brought up the Genesis Project. I was like, what is this going to be?
That could have been anything.
Well, have you heard of, do you know about monkeypox that's going around? Well, the Genesis Project invented that. They released it to kind of just control the population and just kind of like narrow it down to who we...
It could also have been just like some shell company that Trump invented or something that people have been pouring money into just to line his pockets for 5 years and they have no clue.
Well, the Genesis Project, they're doing a lot of good. They're eliminating Professor X and his pesky X-Men, all these mutants.
They're working on some excellent lasers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, this is just all like
these are the costumed characters of the place you went.
Yes,
these are the fun
the ghost town alive. The fun local
immersive, folks.
Flavor.
If you read just about people with horrible conspiracy theories and they're acting stupidly, this is where you go to experience it, live it.
Yeah, and risk your own life because I started thinking like, oh, I'm literally like these women are talking over me. So maybe this wall will protect me, but if they feel the way I think they do about the COVID vaccines.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have been in there.
Which, by the way, I'll get to the rides, I swear. But the last time I was down there about 6 months ago with Aaron, we went to just this nice little coffee place, and then there was a big gathering of like 70 somethings, and the conversation went where you thought it would. And then this following conversation happened. This guy like kind of holds court, and he's like, let me just ask, how many people do you know who died of COVID-19? And maybe 1 or 2 people raised their hands. It happened. People lost some friends. And he goes, okay, I'm good. Okay, now how many people do you know who died from the COVID vaccine? And no one, even in this group, no one raised their hand. And you could tell that this was a big deflation of the moment that he wanted because no hands go up. And then he goes, okay, we'll go because I know 3.
You know 3 people
who died of
the vaccine.
Yes, yeah, and they've only been around for
it's recent.
Yeah, a couple months at that point.
Yeah,
so this conversation happened in like the same half mile.
That
As
makes
this other
sense.
one I described.
That makes sense.
So
Man.
it's a scene. It's a scene down there. But all of this, I would not allow it to tarnish the nice childhood memories that I have because I love going here with my dad and my sister, and it was fun to do it with my son. So I'm looking forward to, all right, here we go. We are heading to the fun zone. And once you get past the Reagan statues and the Genesis Project conversations, then you get a really fun thing because you get on a little ferry. You get a ride before you get there. And there's this odd little, it's these flat platforms that hold 3 cars and a bunch of pedestrians, and you drive your car onto the platform, and then it takes you across this little body of water, which is just a fun, I think these are pretty rare, like little indie ferries.
Indie ferries.
I like to check out the
Yeah.
indie ferry scene.
That's good. Yeah.
It did give me some bad memories because they price the ferry based on your age, and adults are one age, but kids 5 to 11 are another. And I was down there a lot in the summer where I believe I turned 13.
Uh-oh.
And so whenever the guy running counting the coins when you paid for the ferry, who was probably himself 16.
Sure.
Whenever he's going around and he looks at my dad. Okay, so 1 adult and 1 kid. And it gave me the most anxiety. I thought about this for more. I got more stress about this than anything in my adult life. Than worried about having a kid. I was just gripped with anxiety about. Is that how young I look? How please make my dad pay 25 more cents on this ferry.
To make you seem cooler. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how you'll handle the well, if you were to have a second child, I definitely have memories of my parents going, if anyone asks, your brother is 3.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
The little
Oh, this is a
vacation
big,
lies because it could save you a lot of money. I mean, at Disney, it's the difference between nowadays $150 and $0.
Huge. Yeah. Oh, it just got me into Minions Rise of Gru with the free kid.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I tried
Nice.
to take him to a movie, and I was like, this might work if the minions are on the screen as soon as we walk in. And instead, it was a bunch of little guys with spikes who were mad, and my son got the most upset and quivering lip I've ever seen, and we left instantly. So it ended up being free for everybody. But I'm glad we didn't pay $10 for him to be scared of whatever opens the Minions movie. I'll never find out. Okay, anyway, so once you arrive, it's a nice dramatic entrance with a big Ferris wheel right next to the harbor, and this is just very nice. I think a Ferris wheel next to a body of water like Playland had is just always great. You get legit views. They call it the world's longest Ferris wheel, I assume because maybe they let you be on it for longer because there aren't a lot of people down there as much.
There's not a demand
these days. Yeah. Childish Gambino music video 3005 filmed entirely on this Ferris wheel, as well as Nick Viall's first one-on-one date in season 21 of The Bachelor. So,
Great.
And the film Dirty John, also the miniseries Dirty John, which is set in this area in general. So Ferris wheel's still there, still thriving, but then I keep making my way through the Balboa Fun Zone, and I think the fun has decreased. There's almost nothing to do anymore,
man.
which is a bum. It's like, I think it's been COVID hit, and that's the bummer about it. And developers have always been after it. Like, we got to turn this into condos or something boring. And I really hope it doesn't happen. But it already, there were bumper cars and there aren't bumper cars. There was a carousel that is now tables and chairs.
Oh, man.
So where it was, you could get a little afternoon of rides out of it. There's almost nothing now. What you can run into, as I referenced, are some fun shirts. And I think there are some slides labeled shirt. Let's talk about these really quick. So here's one. All right, so zoom out of this a little. We might have to tilt our heads. Here's one that says, "Don't be a salty bitch."
What?
And it is the logo. It's the famous girl from the Morton Salt logo. So this is fun, right? It flips the famous Morton Salt girl on her head. It really defies all the feelings, the associations we have about the Morton Salt girl.
Right, yeah.
And then there's one more. This one didn't even strike me as crazy. It's right-wingy, but it didn't really hit me as bizarre until Aaron pointed out. So this shirt has a big gun on it, and it says, "Since we're redefining everything, this is a cordless hole puncher."
Okay, now
Okay.
I got a few notes.
Yeah.
What is a cordless hole puncher?
Well, yeah, this was Aaron's thought. Is you know how hole punchers? First of all, we're all using them because we all need paper to have holes that we can put it into binders. We're never not punching holes into things, whether it be a single or a 3-hole. Hole punching our whole lives.
We love it, yeah.
But the cords, we get tangled in the cords. So many cords.
Yeah.
Think about all the hole punchers you've ever used and the forest of cords that you end up tangled up
Yeah, of
in.
course. Yeah, of course.
But you know, a gun solves that. A gun, first of all, eliminates the need for a cord when you're punching holes, but it also lets you punch holes into undesirables. It punches fatal holes. Yeah, what are you talking? Cordless. If you took cordless out, I guess this is a hole puncher is a little flat. This is a hole puncher.
I feel
like but cordless just isn't right. They're not electric mechanisms. And I looked up. There are electric hole punchers, but they don't have they're battery operated typically.
Nowadays, I feel like the last corded hole puncher was decommissioned when Ronald Reagan was in office.
We need to get back to the time of American values, of Reagan, and of corded hole punchers. Because it makes my shirts make sense.
The point, okay, so the philosophy behind the shirt is idiotic, and the attempt at cleverness is idiotic as well.
Yeah, just as a piece of writing, I think this.
Yeah, I'm saying all the ways. This is 4-quadrant stupidity.
Yeah.
This hits all the marks of stupid.
You know what I was thinking just now, that gender has to be thought about for 2 seconds and that's it. Well, if we're going to do that, then maybe let's change the names of guns.
Let me get to my computer and type. Oh, man.
But you're also like, okay, all right, great. So guns, we're going to do it. We're going to reclassify them as cordless hole punchers. You got your wish. No, I didn't want that. I want to call them guns. No. It was a joke. Don't do it. But anyway, all this is pablum, because the thing that I really want to talk about, and this has come up on the show before, I have talked about my favorite ride that anchored this place, and the place has never been the same because it for many years now has not had something called the Scary Dark Ride. I think I'm putting in there falsely. It's called Scary Dark Ride.
Right.
You would walk up to this facade and you would find a scary laughing woman. I think the character is Laughing Sal, which it might have prompted this discussion before. Kind of like missing tooth and stringy wig, and she looks crazy. She's an unbalanced person, and she is wearing like a sweater, like a fuchsia sweater. So, okay, what does that tell me about the Scary Dark Ride that I'm about to go on? Well, it doesn't tell you that it, like everything we've talked about today, is pirate oriented.
Yes.
It's all pirate. All of our kid things are pirates, but it's more than pirates, though. It's everything. This ride is like it's pirates mixed with some Haunted Mansion, mixed with Seven Dwarfs, like mine kind of stuff.
Right.
And isn't there a part in the Snow White ride where there's a bunch of eyes in the dark looking at you?
Yeah, in the old woods scene.
I believe so.
Yeah. So that's in this too. And then there's like, you pass by a bunch of explosive barrels like Mr. Toad, or like a couple rides have. And I don't know how the pirates, it's old treasure but current explosives. This is the least discernible ride I have ever seen. It was so strange. It's the smallest space that a ride has ever been fit into. I swear, like even a carnival, like the traveling dark rides have some space and maybe even a second story.
Right.
But this was so claustrophobic and just jammed in there to where now it is just an office. It has just become the corporate office for whoever's running the Balboa Fun Zone. You walk up to it now and it's just a gate and there's a door that says business office on it.
Wow.
And it's heartbreaking to me,
man.
where something so odd, like such colorful local flavor used to be, and now it's just business office. It's so boring, and it's all so right there in my memory. You walk up this awkward little flight of stairs, and I remember it's like little rounded bricks. I know them anywhere. It's always so eerie to walk up to this flight of stairs. I miss this ride so much. I've discovered that there is a video of it because there's a listener, Paul Durso. I think we've all met Paul. And I've talked about Scary Dark Ride before. He's like, oh, there is a video of it. And thank God one person preserved it, because otherwise there'd be so many details that would be gone. Like before you walk into like a crate. The ride vehicle is a crate. And it says, I don't know, they all might say different things, but the one I saw says garlic on it. So you climb aboard a garlic crate to go to a pirate's mine.
Sure.
It's so convoluted. There's like Party City decor, just like stickers and cutouts on the door. Then it's the creakiest, just like the loudest track you've ever heard.
Right.
And then just occasional strobe lights and scratchy speakers that all just say "Dead Men Tell No Tales." And other things say "Cursed ye be, bloomin' scalawags." And some lines are just inaudible. You just cannot tell whatsoever. This thing is so janky, but of course it's a jankiness that I love, that I was very fond of. And I remember, because it was this janky even in the early 90s when I would have started to go on it. And I remember thinking, I knew enough already about Disneyland that, like, you know, like some of these rides are from the 60s, but they still hold up. And I thought the same thing about the Scary Dark Ride. Like, presumably this is a 60s relic and it's rusted away and the speakers are bad, but you know what? That's part of the charm, and we keep it alive because that's what you do. Then in my little bit of research for this episode, I learned this ride opened in 1988. The speaker problems were not from age. They was just poor speakers.
It was designed that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going on this, and the ride then was as old as Rise of the Resistance is now.
Right.
There was no sign of this. It was really like, it's like I guess somebody like aging a lot from drugs or smoking or whatever.
Fast aging.
Yes. Yeah. A rapid decline. And that's kind of what happened to the Scary Dark Ride.
Gosh.
Although, as Paul noted, somebody in the comments claims that they did the hand painting, and it does have like cool blacklight painting from somebody who claims that they also did that for the Disneyland, the Fantasyland redos in 1983, because some of it is legit. Like the painting is of quality if the speakers are not, and the story is not. Wow. But I love this thing so much, and I miss it a lot. And it deserves better than being an office. A bunch of things all closed in the Fun Zone in 2005. They tried to sell the whole ride to a museum in Temecula, and then the deal fell through. So as of 2006, it was like, we will give you this ride for free.
Oh man!
And I wish I knew that. I mean, you would
have taken it.
Yeah, I lived in a garage in 2006. I shared half of a garage with somebody in college, so I would have had nowhere to put the entire Scary Dark Ride. But oh my God, today I would absolutely go through the hassle of the truck rental, of moving the, I'm sure, very heavy garlic crate ride vehicles. God, if I could have if anyone somehow knows what happened to the Scary Dark Ride, I would so happily fully recreate this in my garage, never have it for parking or recording ever again. My garage might be bigger than where the ride used to be.
Wow.
So it would be a downside.
Well, you could pay for the public storage facility that would inevitably get broken into. Like everyone I know who's rented public storage. It's like, hey, that stuff you were storing, if it's gone.
But if you kept it all powered up, and then the burglar encountered a strobe light skeleton saying, "Cursed ye be, bloomin' scalawag,"
they're gonna be out of there in 2
scare
seconds. Yeah,
that's its own security system.
Learn the folly of their ways.
Yeah. This might scare them to death. I hope it would.
So it sounds like it's the most depressing trip you could take now, going down to.
Admittedly, yes, the Fun Zone was not the high. I mean, what it became. But if I could say what actually, how this place impacted me, it's on 2 levels. One, I'm like, how did this affect me in a way that that pirates didn't? Or because you can never have ownership of those.
Yeah.
But you can have ownership over weird bullshit that's only in one place. And when I add up all the things that light me up, talking to people or on the show, it's always, do you know there's like a big sad bear that's outside of the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, or there's themes in the fries and this one's like a spaceship, or there's a car wash that's like an old riverboat. For sure that all came out of the scary like, I don't want to talk about the Haunted Mansion. Everyone knows the Haunted Mansion. I want to talk about the Pirate's Mine ride in a garlic crate that makes no sense and that's bad and scary.
Yeah.
And where my friend smoked weed one time and I still feel bad about it. We shouldn't have befouled this place. I'm still mad. It's not somebody I see anymore. And I wonder if that's partially why. Maybe he lost me smoking weed on the Scary Dark ride.
You know, I would love, is there any sort of research done on people's brain? Because also, in addition to just what you're describing, there is a type of person, and I believe all 3 of us are this type of person, that likes having a little thing that not everybody knows. And what is that design? What is that called? There's something about our brains that like, oh, by the way, did you know? And I feel like it's maybe 20% of the population has some version of this.
And it's the fandom I can relate to the most.
Yeah.
That's sort of how, I mean, the fact that when we started talking about theme parks the first time, that the word Screamscape came up the first time. Like, okay, well, this guy knows his shit.
Yes, Screamscape.
It's
Jim
dug deeper.
Spent a good amount of time for Screamscape for this episode because smaller parks are they are pretty good at calling.
I called it as a joke Screamscape a rag many years ago on this podcast. That was a joke, by the way. I just want to apologize to Screamscape in case they thought that was serious.
That was a joke, not just because it was a funny like reference to call them a rag, but also in that time we've seen just how bad theme park websites can get.
Oh boy, yeah. I might have met some of those ladies might be writing for Inside the Magic.
It was not a real
LGB content going into.
I mean, those ladies are doing the same thing. You know, they're living their own Marvel universe and their own MCU with the alternate reality, the multiverse they're in right now.
Especially, I mean, a lot of conservatives, but especially Q people. It's like they get to like live in a VR simulation of life at all times.
Yeah.
But if I could also be sincere, what I really love about this area is it was like the launching point for some very nice bonding and bike rides with my dad, and something that I hadn't gotten to do since the 1-2 punch of pandemic and child. And it was so that like, yes, lots of like the places run down and bizarre conversations you're overhearing and confusingly written T-shirts. But riding bikes with my dad in that area, nothing replaces that. So that's what made me in this zone, and it's all priceless. And it was so nice to do it again.
Yeah, that's great. I wish Pirates Cove were here to get to do it again. I mean, maybe I'll do it at a certain point if I go back. But it would be fun to go do some of this stuff again. To feel the memories is what you're saying.
Well, now that we've introduced everybody to these places, then they'll all be cheering us on.
That's true. Yes.
When we end up back there, when you're walking around, when you commandeer Blackbeard's bank and take it over.
When I put a watch in a safe deposit box at Blackbeard's bank, people will be very excited.
Sure.
And when next time Jason saves coupons at Playland.
Yeah. I am either adjacent or in Playland as this episode's coming out. So.
Oh, wow.
So somebody might look up and see
you get to see the magic.
It's possible, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've gone back. There were 2 summers I didn't go back. One because of a shitty job I had where they're like, well, we really need people. We can't let people take long vacations this summer. And then 2020, I did have tickets to go to New Jersey. And it just, didn't happen.
Well, it's going to be a great homecoming. I hope this was a good audio homecoming.
Yeah.
And tell us your version of this, the parks that made you, because maybe they're episodes or maybe we just laugh at a picture of something cruddy. But feel free to reply with those. But for now, you survived Podcast The Ride. And I don't know, fun little trip. I feel.
Yeah, great. I just realized I'm parked on the street and you can't park after the time that it is.
No, it doesn't know at 6. you can park whenever. Isn't that right?
I think it's no parking after 6.
Oh, shit. Well, let's get the fuck out. Hey, you can find us on all the socials at Podcast The Ride, merch on our T Public Store, 3 bonus episodes every month at Podcast The Ride, The Second Gate, or 1 more bonus episode on our new tier, Club 3. All of that at patreon.com/Podcast The Ride. Are you actually leaving to...
I'll just take a quick look.
You're nobody. There's no way.
What if our cars are towed, Scott?
Already
finished.
That makes me want to... I'm going to take my sweet time. I want to thank Brian. Thank you,
What?
Brian,
No.
for being great with
I
this.
have to go.
Now you're saying we shouldn't be thanking Brian? Thank you.
have to-
Oh, thank you, Brian.
Brian.
I also have to
Brian
pee.
Thank you, Sean
You're going to end
Rice.
this nice moment with Brian you're being
thankful for
selfish about
Brian,
your own
too.
car.
I'm
Who
thankful
cares
for
if
Brian.
you're...
I thank him
Why didn't you go when I went?
because I'm more professional.
Oh, fine.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.